liberal democracy based on individualism, they have won. And there is no challenge in the shape of communism to them. So then there are no chances of any conflict. And since there are no chances of any conflict, therefore the history has ended and nothing needs to be recorded. This was in 1991. Now, friends, this book actually became the Bible of global capitalism. And individualism, he said three things, basically. Free capitalism, free democracy, and individualism. And individualism virtually became a demigod, and this became the central point of any political and social discourse. This individualism, in turn, has undermined the institution of families, communities, and other informal institutions of human relationships. The entire thing has been reduced to two tiers in the Western societies, individual and the government, and all infrastructure, all other institutions in between, which we see in plenty in India. You have village community, you have a biradari, you have family, you have extended family, everything else has disappeared. In fact, this individualism is common to both communism and capitalism. Communism brought it about with the use of political process and sheer state force. And in capitalist system, since 1990 particularly, the free market capitalism has invoked, and I repeat, free market capitalism has invoked the god of greed, the god of greed. Both the two materialistic systems, capitalism and communism, agree that the object of life is purely materialism and there should be no restraint on enjoyment and consumption. There should not be any restraint on enjoyment and consumption. Now, in our societies, material progress is one of the goals. But this is not the only goal. We talk in terms of earth calm. In fact, not only us, all ancient civilizations, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, they talk in terms of totality of life, in which Artha has an important role, but in the post-communist capitalist society, the god of greed became the principal god and everything else was relegated to background. In fact, Keynes, one of the well-celebrated economists, he counseled that human greed was not necessarily a bad quality. He said, on the contrary, it could promote economic development. And he said, please go and have a long holiday from restraint and moderation in consumption and enjoyment, and only then the engine of economic development will carry on. Friends, once you accept greed as the principal objective, in our society, we normally say काम, क्रोध, मोह, अहंकार, लोभ, इन सबको छोड़ना चाहिए. So moh and lobh, they need to be suppressed. But here there is a alternative paradigm which say make the greed at the center of the society and only then the society can progress. Now the objective of life has been put at what? Greed. And once that becomes the objective, the following follows. I want your attention because this is really very vital. The objective of life impacts your lifestyle. Whatever objective you have, it will impact your lifestyle. And lifestyle, in turn, will define human relations and habits. Because if your lifestyle, for example, wants you to be in the bar in the evening, then obviously your relationships will develop in the bar and your habits will also develop there. And then your habits, they in turn impact your savings and your spending. It's very clear because of your habits. If you have a habit to buy newspapers, you will spend on them. If your habit is to have a drink in the evening, you will go and spend money in the bar. So it will. And then that in turn will impact production and supply. Because whatever the society needs, the manufacturer will manufacture. So if there is a more demand for liquor, the liquor factories work. If there is more demand for books, the publishers and printing presses will be in the business. And then this total human life, it impacts on nature, ecology, and environment. So your objective in life, if it is greed, then you follow and then you impact your relationships with have and have-nots, your relationship with the ecology and nature will impact. And this is, mind you, common between communism and capitalism. There is no difference. Only thing is, in one the state does it, another it is the capitalist market which does it. And friends, what is the difference between communism and capitalism? In capitalism, man exploits man. In capitalism, as they say, man exploits man. In communism, it is the other way around. Now, since 1991, this sort of a society based on Keynes, where greed was treated as God, started taking shape. And how this entire paradigm has impacted the American society, I'll just take 2 minutes to share it with you. More than half of the marriages in America and in divorce, because all relationships are seen as contracts. In India also, law sees marriages as contracts, but less than 1% of the marriages get dissolved in India so far. And India has the least divorce rate in the entire world. In America, between 1930 and 34, 93% of the children, they were born out of normally married couples, and only 7% were born out of the wedlock. Now, 40% of the births in America, they take place outside the wedlock. About 100 million US households own 1.2 billion credit cards. That means 12 credit cards per household, and they have a debt of $2.6 trillion. And add to that their housing loans, which run into $10 trillion. And the net result of all this is what? Americans used to have a very decent saving rate. Now American saving rate is minus 20%. Minus 20%. Reason being, that means if you are earning $100, you are spending $120. The entire American society is under debt, and America as a nation is under the heaviest debt in the entire world. when you don't have these family values, then, and you are an individual, then you tend to take larger risks. And that is reflected in the investments in the stock market. In 1980, only 6% of the Americans invested in stock market. In 1990, the figure went up to 25%, and in 2001, the figure had gone to 52%. People will even take loans and invest in stock market. And for heaven's sake, don't confuse investment in stock markets as related to